Welcome back, everybody. Can't thank you enough for watching. Let me remind you off the top, please subscribe to the channel. Please smash that like button. You're helping us out when you do that. It's the best way to ensure that we keep making these videos all year to help you win your fantasy league. And to that end, let's continue on with my flag player list for 2019. A couple days ago, we showed you number 10 through number 6 among players I'm planting my flag on for this season. Now it's time to keep going and count down the rest. And at number 5, I like Cooper Kupp. And again, to refresh, the flag list is about liking the player and also looking at his ADP and liking that too. And the market is saying mid-5th round in standard for Cooper Kupp. Early 5th in PPR, and I'm more late 3rd or early 4th, so if I can get him 4th round, late 4th, maybe even 5th, I find value in that. Let me show you a few plays. Here, he's middle slot left with Jamar Taylor matched up single safety, so good chance this is press man, and coming out of that route, that's an explosive cut and explosive leg drive. I just did a video on Josh Gordon this weekend, and I hope you also got to check that one out. But look at the difference here, how little Kupp has to slow down to make this cut as opposed to someone like Gordon who's rounding off a lot of his cuts. This one, Kupp is slot left. He played from the slot about half the time last year. It's not the only thing he does, but if he can fake like he's blocking a little bit on this play and then get matched up on a linebacker, in this case Anthony Barr, oh boy. That is easy money because Cooper Kupp does not have elite deep speed, but he does sometimes get an ancillary coverage guy on him. That's what happens when you're a Rams receiver, maybe not named Brandon Cooks. And when it's a linebacker, totally, he can house it. And then we could talk a little bit about strength, 6'2", 205, not a giant, but we watched this one against the Chargers. It turns out to be a scramble drill, and some good pocket elusiveness from Jared Goff, and eventually a nice throw to Kupp. But the slot corner gets him from behind, and Kupp says, "Get off me," and he scores. I think there are two arguments against Kupp. One is he tore his ACL midseason. You know, if you're concerned that he's not going to be the same guy in 2019, I get it. If you just don't like post-ACL risk, that's fine, stay away. But the too many mouths to feed argument, it just does not hold water. If the Rams offense is anything like it was last year, were there too many mouths to feed last year, I like Kupp every bit as much as like Robert Woods, probably a better and quicker route runner, but Woods does have better hands. I think those two Rams receivers should be drafted right near one another, and right now, Kupp is going significantly behind Robert Woods. Let me take a quick break to thank Lisa Mattresses for sponsoring us today. I sleep on a Lisa mattress every single night. I have for 4 years now. And if you know you've been putting off getting a new mattress because you've been waking up stiff and sore or just not sleeping that well, I hope you'll consider Lisa. Not all my flag players are sleepers, but you'll be a great sleeper on your new mattress. Sorry, but I am just some doofus on the internet. Who cares if I'm comfortable on the mattress? That's why Lisa gives you 100 nights to sleep on your new purchase. And if you don't think it's helping you sleep better, send it back. No questions asked. You're not going to get that kind of deal from a brick and mortar mattress store. If you need a new mattress, you have nothing to lose here, really. Either you sleep better or you get your money back. Plus, we can get you 15% off your mattress when you go to leesa.com and use the promo code Harris15. That's 15% off a really great mattress. I really do sleep on one every single night. Leesa.com, promo code Harris15. Okay, we're back at the flag list. At number 4, I have a dude I raved about from the middle of last year on, Kenny Golladay. To be honest, he's not a Lisa sleeper. I'm not outraged by Galladay's ADP. He's going fairly early. I might be a round or so higher on him. He's going late 4th. And if I can get Golladay anytime in the 4th, I think that's fine value. But no, I'm not telling you that Galladay's a sleeper. I'm going to sell him to you as a growth stock. If you just play make-believe on this play and pretend that vintage AJ Green got traded to the Lions and we watch him on this play running out of the slot down the sidelines, have that kind of body control and that kind of terrifying open field running and stiff arming a tackler to the fiery pits of Hades, You start to understand why I make the AJ Green comparison for Kenny Golladay so often. Or same game, how about some brute strength? Galladay's up on the line in a trips right formation. Kevin King will try and bump him and just, it's a swim move, get off me. He just discards number 20 there and gets the touchdown. And how about this one for just about everything we're looking for in a wide receiver? Here he's wide right, man on man, no help is coming. Matt Stafford is going to Golladay. It's physical coverage. It's probably defensive holding. I think that's James Bradbury. But Golladay has the size and strength. He fights through it and then just lays out backwards. I don't know. Did we see a prettier touchdown all of 2018? I think the anti-Detroit passing game argument that's spreading like a plague, I think it's an inefficiency that you can draft against. Everybody wants to tell you, well, the Lions will be just too run-oriented with Darrell Bevell as their coordinator. No, I fully believe there are 8 targets a game out there for Golladay. It's what he got last year. I think he'll get him again, and frankly, we'll probably get more aggressive play calling pass-wise out of a Bevell offense than we did Mr. Cooter. Okay, at number 3, let's talk Russell Wilson. You want the perfect example of a superstar, of a great player whose fantasy value is getting depressed by people who have a crystal ball and who can see into the future and tell you, oh, no, sorry, Seattle's offense is going to be too run heavy. Sorry, Russell Wilson is now Marcus Mariota. This is just the poster child for analysts who overvalue situation before the games are ever played. But Harris, don't you realize it's unsustainable to throw for 35 touchdowns on not even 300 pass completions? Like, he's going to hand it off. That's all he's going to do. Those touchdowns are coming down by a dozen. I do not agree. Will the Seahawks run it a bunch? Absolutely. Will they still throw it 25 to 30 times a game? Absolutely. Run heavy does not mean what it used to mean. And stat-based arguments like that break down for players of extraordinary ability. And Russell Wilson is the best deep ball passer in the game. Remember how Tyreek Hill's touchdown ratio from 2017? Well, it's unsustainable. Not possible. You can't score that many touchdowns on that many catches. And it turns out if the player has extraordinary ability, his ratios are sustainable. And Wilson takes deep shots. His moon balls are incredibly accurate. He has some elite deep threat weapons. And then also, all of this completely does not take into account he's got the quarterback cheat code. He'll run for 300 to 400 yards. And I think last year not getting in the end zone as a rusher was probably just unlucky. He's going to get you a few each year, usually. You cannot be taking Kyler Murray over Russell Wilson. Kyler Murray's best possible outcome is that eventually he becomes Russell Wilson. I want you to wait on quarterback in single QB leagues. And if you can wait on quarterback and get Wilson in the 8th round, I urge you to do that. Number 2 on my flag player list, and along with Keenan Allen, another repeat from the 2018 flag list, I have Joe Mixon. This year's list, you're noticing probably, is leaning into some of my favorite game film players whose talent I feel really confident about, and Mixon certainly qualifies. Now, he was a much easier call for me to make last year because the market was still hypnotized by 3.5 yards per carry, which is what he had in 2017. Don't you understand, Harris? 3.5 yards a carry. He's just not good. But in 2018, Mixon averaged 4.9 yards a carry, so now suddenly he's good, which is just one more indication that yards per carry is a terrible and useless stat as a predictive device, but that's a conversation for another time. Let's talk about how good Joe Mixon is at football. I'll show you a couple plays to illustrate how agile he is for 6'1", 220. On this one, he's going to get met in the hole by a Brown safety. It's Brian Body Calhoun. One-on-one. One-on-one, what do you got? And what Mixon has is a crazy, subtle, sort of dead leg cut that adjusts his vector upfield just a little bit, but it makes the safety crumple, basically without touching him. He met him in the hole and never laid a finger on him. And this one, number 94 there, defensive tackle, beats his man. He's standing there. He's ready to pounce on Mixon, and you just don't see such smooth jump cutting without loss of speed in guys this big very often. Again, never lays a glove on him, and that's just hard to do when you can make your move with the guy like 1 foot away from you. I mean, who does this run remind you of, if not Le'Veon Bell? Getting up to the line of scrimmage, getting a little bit stood up, waiting, keeping his balance, and then cutting, accelerating up into the defensive secondary. And just to cap it all off, yes, he's 220 pounds with really good balance. He's a superstar in the making. He's a power back who can move. He's really hard to tackle. He'll ping pong off your tacklers. If he doesn't do anything else, he can still do this. As I say, the market has mostly caught up. Mixon's ADP is number 15 standard, number 19 PPR. I'm number 10 standard, number 15 PPR. So we're not talking about a gross miscarriage of justice. I just want to communicate end of your first round standard, early second PPR. I say do it. And let people who are worried about the Bengals offensive line go pound sand. Wasn't a good line last year either. And number one flag player for 2019, another longtime favorite of mine, Stefon Diggs, Stefon Diggity. I actually have him number 22 overall standard, number 20 PPR, which is a pretty good-sized gap from the market, which has him number 36 in both formats. So if you can wait and get him in the third, or if you're lucky, snag him in the fourth, I love it. I like Adam Thielen as a player a lot too. They're beside one another in my ranks. But I think the market's got Thielen right. The market wants Thielen around earlier. Well, at that price, if that comparative price, I'll take Diggs. It's true we haven't quite yet gotten the fully healthy season out of him 4 years in, and that's frustrating, but we got close last year. He missed one game with a rib injury, and it's the route running. I'm going to do a show later in the week about the 5 best route runners in the league, and spoiler alert, you're going to hear me talk about Diggs again in that one because as a route runner, he's ridiculous. He's explosive out of breaks. He's deceptive. He's purposeful with his footwork. And if all we're going to do is just read stat lines and target totals from the previous year and say, well, Adam Thielen just gets more yards. That's just the way it's always going to be. I direct your attention to the second half of last year when Diggs had more catches, yards, and touchdowns. They're both great. I'm not trashing one to make the other one look good. I'm just saying one presents better draft value, and that is Stefon Diggs. And so there it is. That's it. The complete 2019 Harris Football Flag Player List. As always, you can hear the conversation about these players at greater length on the Harris Football Podcast, which I make 5 days a week for your listening enjoyment. You can find it on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. I should mention, our podcast is not a simulcast of this YouTube channel. Both are entirely original content. Well, maybe not entirely. I like players I like, but we're just not rebroadcasting one on the other. Lots of people do seem to like the podcast as well. Once again, thank you very much for watching. We'll be right back here tomorrow with more takes to help you win your draft.